The sun shone brightly over the suburban neighborhood, where rows of freshly painted houses lined clean, tree-lined streets. Patricia Jenkins, a confident, middle-aged woman with a sharp eye for real estate, stood at the driveway of a newly listed property. Dressed impeccably in a tailored suit, she exuded the air of a professional who had been in the game long enough to know her worth. Patricia had just posted signs around the neighborhood advertising the open house for a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom colonial-style home. She was eager for potential buyers to arrive. A steady stream of interested clients came through, each greeted warmly, with rehearsed enthusiasm. Then came the Davis family. James Davis, his wife Angela, and their 12-year-old son Malik walked up the driveway, dressed casually but neatly. Their smiles were bright, but Patricia's demeanor changed the moment she saw them. A flicker of hesitation crossed her face before her professional mask returned. "Hello," James said, extending a hand. "We're here for the open house." Patricia forced a tight smile, pretending to examine a clipboard. "Oh, I'm sorry, but the house is already under contract," she lied smoothly. Angela frowned. "Under contract? The listing just went up yesterday. Are you sure?" Patricia sighed, glancing toward the street as though hoping someone else would show up to end the interaction. "Yes, I'm sure. But I'd be happy to show you a property in a more appropriate price range. If you'll excuse me, I have other clients waiting." James exchanged a glance with Angela, his jaw tightening. Malik tugged at his mother's sleeve, whispering, "Why doesn't she want us to see it?" Angela knelt beside her son, her voice low but firm. "It's not about the house, sweetie. It's about us." The Davis family left without further protest, but James's mind was racing. The polite dismissal wasn't new to him. He had experienced subtle discrimination before, but today it stung differently. As they drove away, Malik broke the silence from the back seat. "Dad, are we going to let her treat us like that?" James's lips pressed into a thin line. "No, son, we're not." Back at the Davis household, Angela paced the living room while James sat at the dining table, his laptop open. They own Legacy Realty Group, a successful agency specializing in luxury homes. James and Angela had built the company from the ground up, earning a reputation for fairness and inclusivity in an industry where bias often prevailed. Angela crossed her arms. "James, we can't let this slide. Patricia Jenkins needs to know who she just dismissed." James nodded. "She's one of our newer agents, hired by the branch manager. I didn't realize she'd be at that property today. But she's about to get a serious wake-up call." He pulled up Patricia's profile and reviewed her recent activity. She had a decent sales record, but her listings skewed toward predominantly white neighborhoods, and her client demographics reflected a troubling lack of diversity. "She's profiling clients," Angela said, peering over his shoulder. "Seems that way," James replied. "Let's see how she handles meeting her employers face-to-face." The next day, James and Angela drove to Legacy Realty Group's main office. They entered the sleek, modern building with its glass walls and polished floors, Malik trailing behind them. Inside, employees greeted them with smiles and nods, recognizing the owners immediately. Patricia was seated at her desk in a corner cubicle, engrossed in her computer screen. She didn't look up when James and Angela approached. "Ms. Jenkins?" James said, his voice calm but commanding. Patricia glanced up, her expression turning to surprise and then discomfort as she recognized them. "Oh, hello," she said, standing awkwardly. Angela stepped forward. "I believe we met yesterday at the open house. You told us the property was under contract. Is that correct?" Patricia stammered. "Yes, I thought it was." James placed a hand on the desk, leaning slightly. "Funny, because as the owners of Legacy Realty Group, we're well aware of the property's status. It's very much available." Patricia's face paled. "Owners? I didn't realize." "Exactly," Angela interrupted. "You didn't realize. And yet, you made assumptions about us. Care to explain why?" Patricia sat frozen, her mind scrambling for an explanation that wouldn't worsen the situation. I'm sorry if I offended you. I must have been mistaken about the property's status, she mumbled, avoiding their gaze. James wasn't buying it. Let's cut to the chase, Patricia. You profiled us. You assumed we couldn't afford the house and dismissed us without even showing it. That's not how we run this agency. Angela added, Legacy Realty Group stands for fairness and inclusivity. What you did goes against everything we represent. Do you understand how damaging your behavior is, not just to us, but to any family you've treated this way? Patricia's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean to. But you did, Angela said firmly. Intent doesn't erase impact. Do you know how often black families are denied opportunities because someone assumes they don't belong? Patricia nodded, tears spilling over. I'm so sorry. I was wrong, and I'll do whatever it takes to make it right. James sighed, his tone softening slightly. We're not here to ruin your career, Patricia, but you need to take accountability. Bias, whether conscious or unconscious, has no place in this industry. Angela handed her a booklet. This is a resource we provide to all our agents on fair housing practices and implicit bias training. You will be required to complete it before continuing with any client interactions. Patricia took the booklet, her hands shaking. Thank you for giving me another chance. I promise I'll do better. Weeks passed, and Patricia immersed herself in the training materials, attending workshops and reflecting deeply on her actions. She realized that her biases had been shaped by societal stereotypes she'd never questioned before. Meanwhile, James and Angela continued their work, ensuring that their agency upheld its reputation as a beacon of integrity. They received an outpouring of support from clients who heard about the incident and appreciated the Devise's commitment to equality. One day, Patricia approached James in the office, a new sense of humility in her demeanor. Mr. Davis, I want to thank you for holding me accountable. The training opened my eyes to so much I didn't understand before. I've been volunteering with a housing advocacy group, and it's given me a whole new perspective. James smiled. That's good to hear, Patricia. Growth is what matters. Just remember, the clients we serve are more than their appearances. Everyone deserves respect and dignity. Patricia nodded, her resolve firm. I won't forget it. As Patricia rebuilt her professional reputation, the Davis family felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had turned a moment of discrimination into a teachable experience, proving that change was possible when people were willing to confront uncomfortable truths. In the end, it wasn't just about selling houses. It was about building a community where everyone felt they belonged.